Story 1. I'm not sure everyone likes any holiday, but Valentine's Day really irritates me. If I want to do something nice for my partner and show my love, I'll do that on my own. I don't need a specific day that makes me feel obligated. I just hate the whole idea behind it. Story 2. Christmas is complicated. I believe in God and Jesus, but Jesus was not born on December 25th. We did not have much money growing up, so it was never like my friend's experience. I did not know what stocking stuffers were until I was in my 20s. There is too much glitter on a holiday that is full of stress, overspending, and a lot of yelling at other people. I am grateful that Black Friday is not as bad as it used to be. Story 3. At Christmas, I go all out to make it nice for the kids and go through the motions, but honestly it's just a giant pain as far as I'm concerned. It's extremely expensive, a ton of work, and I have to see the in-laws. It sucks. Story 4. Holidays that fall in the middle of the week when you are not taking the rest of the week off are frustrating. Never trust a week with 2 Mondays. Story 5. At Christmas, my mom was not good with money, and the stress led to crying. Story 6. Big New Year's Eve gatherings are not for me. I do not drink, I am a terrible dancer, and I dislike getting dressed up. Drunk people are annoying and increase the risk of accidents. Food and live entertainment are expensive. Acting wild at midnight is not for me. People seem overly excited and it gets noisy. Story 7. Christmas has become overly commercialized. Christmas music and retail sales now start in early October. It will not be long before it is Christmas year-round. Story 8. At a traditional Thanksgiving, I do not enjoy 80% of the food served. Of course I eat what I want, but when I tell people what I have for Thanksgiving, an omelet, my grandmother's recipe, they act like I am strange or missing out. Oh well. Story 9. Valentine's Day is traditional. Choose another day to be romantic. One that has more meaning for you and your partner. Story 10. Easter is hard every year for too many reasons to detail. Story 11. I'm not particularly into Christmas. I'm not religious, and although I enjoy giving gifts to people I love, there is always pressure to get them something good or to buy something they do not need. I'm not big on the music or the snow, and I dislike forced family interactions. Bah humbug. Story 12. I hate Christmas and the way the holiday season feels like it just drags on. It's all anyone talks about in December, and there's no escaping the annoying music and commercialization. Story 13. New Year's Eve is not great if you have young children or dogs and live in an area where people love fireworks. We live next to a park, and people use the field to set off powerful fireworks. I do not complain because people deserve to have fun, but I am relieved each year when the noise stops. Story 14. People act like St. Patrick's Day is Coachella or something. Story 15. I cannot stand Christmas. It is way too commercialized and materialistic. Story 16. I feel very alone because I don't like Halloween. When I tell people I'm not into it, they look at me as if I'm crazy. Story 17. 4th of July. Nothing about the United States is worth celebrating anymore. Story 18. It's not a holiday, but New Year's Eve. There's a 5 out of 7 chance I'll work overnight and deal with intoxicated people. Being sober always sucks. I really love the next day, though. Story 19. I loved Halloween as a child, but as an adult I hate costume parties. They feel childish to me. I also dislike gross things like blood and spiders being used as decorations. Story 20. Christmas, or even the mention of it, depresses me. I am very lonely 99% of the time. That holiday rubs it in my face. Story 21. I dislike Christmas, but not for the usual reasons. I hate it because my family expects everyone to buy gifts for everyone else. There are 13 people to buy for. It is far too expensive, and I wish we would draw 1 or even 2 or 3 names from a hat and be more minimalistic, but my mom refuses. Opening all the presents is also a pain because we take turns opening them one at a time from youngest to oldest in a seemingly endless loop until everyone gets tired and gives up. The whole process takes well over an hour. I also hate going to midnight mass because I am not religious. Being in church makes me uncomfortable. and I actively deny the Holy Trinity. Story 22. Halloween is something neither my fiancé nor I can stand. My dislike began with social anxiety about choosing costumes and attending parties, and it continued into adulthood because I find it too commercialized and the doorbell constantly ringing gives me anxiety. I also don't like spookiness, being scared, or watching gross horror movies. No offense to people who enjoy it, but it's not for me. Story 23. Halloween feels very Disney adult to me, the most theme park-like of all the holidays. People try to impress each other with costumes, and there are social expectations to participate. Story 24. Honestly, I am not always sure how old I am. I do not celebrate anything. Story 25. While everyone hates Halloween, I am getting into the spooky mood starting in July. Story 26. I am not big on Halloween. I especially hate the decorations. Why would I ever put a creepy little ghoul or skeleton in front of my house? Story 27. Christmas. I hate the fake cheer, and if you cannot be nice year-round, do not fake it for a few days. Story 28. I love Christmas, but I dislike gift giving. The obligation to spend so much money disgusts me. I enjoy giving gifts to children, but that is where it stops. We should enjoy the company of one another with tasty food and fun games. Story 29. I do not celebrate Christmas. I tell everyone not to buy anything for me. Story 30. Thanksgiving is not for me. I have never been close to my family, and I do not like 99% of the food typically served. Story 31. Is New Year's Eve a holiday? What a pain in the ass. We just had Christmas. Give me a break. The Lunar New Year is better. It gives me more time to put the year ahead in perspective. Story 32. Halloween. My birthday is the next day, so I never cared about it. Story 33. People start displaying pumpkins in August for Halloween, and then it feels like a run from one holiday to the next until May. Story 34. Halloween. I hate seeing fake spiders everywhere. It creeps me out. I'm from Europe, and it only became popular here when I was in my early 20s. The whole thing feels imported. People who love to dress up have embraced it, and good for them. I just can't get into it, sorry. Story 35. I'm not crazy about Christmas, but I like Easter even less. I am Jewish, and I remember my paternal grandmother's story about growing up in Poland. She said that on Easter Sunday Christians came out of their churches and threw stones at Jews because they believed we had killed Jesus. Story 36. Thanksgiving is a holiday created by colonizers, and its real history was not taught correctly to many of us growing up. It has been whitewashed and presented as a day for being thankful. I do not accept that narrative. The food is often unappealing. Story 37. I am another vote for Christmas. With divorced parents, my husband and I spend our entire winter break from school visiting different sets of family. Then there is the obligation to buy gifts for everyone. Secret Santas, white elephant exchanges, and nieces and nephews we never see the rest of the year. I want to love the holiday. I want to enjoy the movies with hot cocoa under the glow of lights, exchange a gift or two with my husband while we relax in our cozy home. But the whole season is too busy and expensive to truly enjoy. Story 38. Halloween. I go all out for every other holiday, but I do not get Halloween. I liked it when I was a child, when it was just our group of friends going between our houses in homemade costumes. Now it feels opportunistic and devoid of community, going to ask strangers for candy, and somehow they are in the wrong if they do not want to participate, makes no sense to me. I live in a neighborhood that kids travel into. I have no idea who they are, and more concerningly, they have no idea who I am or whether I am a safe door to knock on. Story 39. Thanksgiving isn't really my thing. I'm not motivated by food at all, and I don't like turkey. I'm just tired and want a quiet day off, but it always turns into a big thing. It's not a big deal, just not my favorite holiday. Story 40. I do not like scary things or being scared. On Valentine's Day, neither I nor my spouse should feel forced to prove our love. I prefer random days. I am single, but if I had a husband, I would not want him to feel pressured on Valentine's Day. Story 41. Thanksgiving. To quote my dad when a guest quipped that he hadn't seen us for a whole year, You think there's a reason for that? I don't like turkey either. Story 42. Halloween. I have no desire to hand out candy for 2 hours, and I think it is odd when adults are very enthusiastic about it. Story 43. Halloween. Get out of here with that shit. Can I just go to a party in my normal clothes, please? Story 44. July 4th is hot, loud, patriotic, and generally annoying. Story 45. In my opinion, Halloween feels pointless as an adult. I will not pass out candy. It is a waste of money, and I do not support children eating so much candy. I am not going to parties or haunted attractions. People get so excited for Halloween, adults just as much as children, and I do not understand it. Story 46. Valentine's Day and Thanksgiving. Valentine's Day for 2 reasons. First, I'm single and it hurts to be alone on that day. Second, my birthday is the same week and it always gets overshadowed. I don't care much for Thanksgiving. It's like Christmas without the gifts. We never go anywhere, and I'm starving all day because we only have one big meal and nothing in between. I took a vacation to England last year for all of November and loved how the month transitioned straight into Christmas. My ideal timeline is September through November 7th as Halloween time. After that, Christmas until January 10th. Story 47. The only holiday I like is the 4th of July because of the fireworks. I grew up with a father who was a Scrooge because of his upbringing, and I guess it rubbed off on me. Story 48. I love Christmas for what it's supposed to stand for, but I hate its aesthetics. It's just always so loud and too much, and not in a good way. Story 49. Thanksgiving has always been one day spent with family and one meal. My family is 2,000 miles away, and my friends are with their families. So I cook a large, complicated meal for just me and my child so he can feel part of the tradition. I feel so fucking alone that day. At least Christmas lasts a while and offers plenty of time and ways to celebrate with friends. Story 50. I'd go with Valentine's Day. My reason is that it often feels overly commercialized, more about selling flowers, chocolates, and gifts rather than genuine affection. It can also put unnecessary pressure on people, especially men in relationships, to perform romantically while making singles feel left out. I'd rather appreciate love and connection in everyday moments without a specific date telling me to. Story 51. I do not care about Valentine's Day. I am a social and have never been in a relationship. I cannot ignore the day because of its commercial pressure. Story 52. The only reason I ever celebrated any holiday was for my children. I would make a big deal of decorating, cooking, and making sure they were happy. Story 53. All the Hallmark holidays were invented so Hallmark could sell more cards and crappy tchotchkes. Story 54. I do not like Christmas because it is so commercialized. Fortunately, my friends are understanding and we agreed on no gifts. But stores start promoting the holiday even before Remembrance Day, and years of the same songs have made the season really annoying. Story 55. The only thing I like about any holiday is having an excuse to do crafts, hang homemade decorations, bake and decorate cookies, and make a special dinner if I feel like it. I don't exchange gifts or fall into the money traps. Sometimes it's nice to have something to look forward to and make a special day, especially during the winter months. What I don't like is how holidays have gotten out of hand and people feel pressured to spend excessively. Everyone gets stressed trying to afford the perfect holiday to the point that they cannot enjoy it. They're missing the point. Story 56. Christmas has been ruined for me by working in retail for most of my adult life. Story 57. My family is religious and I am not. I have always been the black sheep, and it is awkward to attend celebrations for a sky wizard I do not believe in. It is also frustrating to have to listen to them repeat offensive conservative and racist talking points without being able to correct them, because I do not want to embarrass my mother. Story 58. The 4th of July and New Year's are nothing to me. I think fireworks are cool, but I do not like the danger or my animals hiding and shaking uncontrollably because a neighbor 3 doors down decided to set off a bunch of professional-grade fireworks during peak fire season. Story 59. I do not dislike New Year's, but I do not care about it. If there are fireworks nearby, I will enjoy the show. But staying up late to count down to another Wednesday at the office and watching your boss pretend this is the year He actually keeps going to the gym past January 22nd does not appeal to me anymore. Story 60, July 4th. I think civilians using fireworks are a dangerous combination. Story 61. From Halloween until New Year's Day, my asshole is constantly puckered. I hate the obligation to be cheerful during November and December. Story 62. Honestly, holidays are fun and I enjoy them, but I have never been crazy about any of them. I do like having a day off. However, we run around so much from family to family that the holidays become unenjoyable. I wish we did not have to have dinner with both sides of the family. Story 63. Valentine's Day. I find it useless. There is no originality. If I want to show affection, I do it when I want, not only on that day. It seems like a party for couples trying to save their relationships. Story 64. Many people think birthday parties are fun, but I see them as ordinary days and do not feel the need to celebrate. People say happy birthday and offer well wishes, and that is enough. Story 65. We have a public holiday for the football grand final. I dislike football, but I will get paid more from work, so that is good. Story 66. Can I say birthday? I am all in favor of celebrating other people's birthdays, but I do not want attention for my own. Story 67. I honestly do not care for most holidays. The few I participate in are mostly for the benefit of my family or because I enjoy cooking large meals. Story 68. Mother's Day is not a major holiday, but I see so many people celebrating with their families and making heartfelt posts about how happy they are that they got the mother they have. My mother was not a very nice person, and Mother's Day while growing up was an intensely adrenaline-filled nightmare of walking on eggshells. As an adult, it is one of the hardest days of the year for me. Story 69. New Year's Eve. It is the typical we must have fun. What's the plan? Holiday when you are likely to encounter scams or pay twice as much for something that is only average or even subpar because of the date. It is kind of fun as a child when you get to stay up late, and as a teenager when you can bend some rules and pull your first all-nighter. But once you have done it all, usually by your mid-20s, what is the point? By that time, it becomes more of a nuisance than a pleasure. Travel is more expensive. Restaurants, clubs, and resorts impose predatory markups while lowering quality. Everything is crowded, and almost inevitably any big plan will go from mildly disappointing to awful. I have had so many underwhelming or awful New Year's Eves that I finally embraced this rule. If there is not something truly interesting to do, I would rather spend it at home like any other night. I have done that proudly in recent years. The only silver lining of the pandemic years of 2020 and 2021 was the lack of pressure and the lack of opportunities to waste money and time on a pointless holiday. Story 70. The 17th of May. It is a red day, so I can sleep longer, but the marching bands will not let me. Laughing out loud. Story 71. For everyone who mentioned Valentine's Day, I understand. Here is a little something from me to you. Story 72. I am from the United Kingdom, so I was expecting locations and types of holidays, not seasonal events. Story 73. Birthdays were awesome when I was a kid, but I stopped enjoying them in high school. They are literally just another day. Who cares? Story 74. New Year's Eve. Does that count? I hate the pressure to go out and party until midnight. I'd rather just stay home. Story 75. I don't like Father's Day. You never know who's going to call. Story 76. Easter is my least favorite. I'm not big on Christianity. I do not care for the history of Thanksgiving, as I feel it has been distorted. I like Christmas, but we celebrate it in a more pagan way. Story 77. I do not know what people have against Christmas. I drink White Russians constantly from the evening of the 24th to the evening of the 26th. Like my dear friend Jeffrey Lebowski, I think it is great, laughing out loud. Story 78. I don't like my birthdays. I would happily forget about them as if they didn't exist. Story 79. It's my birthday. I don't like all the pomp and circumstance. I just want a low-key day. Story 80. Thanksgiving has more to do with the family members I have to be around than with the day itself. Story 81. Halloween always bothers me. Some people go over the top and criticize those who do not. Others do nothing and still criticize people who go all out. I enjoy seeing people have fun, but do not force me into a costume I do not want to wear, and I will not ruin your fun for enjoying all things spooky. I do enjoy 100 grand candy bars, though. Let's be clear. Story 82. I avoid events that involve family or social gatherings. I'm an introvert with social anxiety. Around November, I usually start getting anxious about Christmas and often become violently ill by around December 15th. Story 83. I was never a fan of Christmas. It is better now that I do not have to. On July 4th, I cannot stand fireworks, and I hate that they are seeping into other celebrations. Story 84. Easter. I am in the Bible Belt and a former Christian. It is a meaningless holiday now. Celebrating spring or bunnies seems like a stretch. We do not do much. We prepare a good meal that day to avoid restaurant crowds. Story 85. Next year will be Mothering Sunday, but I no longer have a mother to make the day special. Story 86. I would choose the 4th of July because it distresses people with post-traumatic stress disorder and animals. No other holiday directly impacts others in the same way. Story 87. I do not like any holidays or social events, including birthdays, weddings, and funerals. Story 88. Easter is deeply meaningful to me as a Christian, but I have never been big on the aesthetics. Bunnies, eggs, pastels, they do not excite me. Story 89. Christmas isn't jolly when you have to make it jolly for everyone else. It's stressful and expensive. This year I am taking a vacation and can't wait. I'm skipping Christmas. Story 90. On the 4th of July, many people rush out of town, causing severe traffic congestion and crowded airports. Excessive drinking leads some to engage in reckless behavior that can harm themselves or others. Random backyard fireworks occur before, during, and after the holiday. Story 91. At Christmas, my mother would always get very stressed and yell at everyone, mainly my dad and me. One time she was yelling at my dad to move the piano on Christmas morning. I was not sure why she felt it needed moving right then, or how moving an instrument weighing around 500 kilograms could be a simple one-person task. Story 92. I get so burned out on Christmas merchandise starting in September. The songs, the rush, and the chaos drive me nuts. People act fake nice because of the holiday. All the films where the power of Christmas supposedly solves everything make the true meaning. Feel lost. I basically do not celebrate it anymore. I would rather go to work. I work in a prison. I am not close to my family. Even as a teenager and young adult, I did not care for Christmas. I have a small circle of friends. The reward is not worth the effort. Story 93. I actively hate Thanksgiving. It is strange, we glorify eating so much that you feel sick. Then people watch football on television, so there is often nothing good to watch. Cleaning up is a major hassle, and there is a push to go shopping. It makes no sense. A holiday when you are supposed to appreciate what you have. Then after it's over you make retail employees leave their families so you can buy things you do not need and spend money you do not have. I hate it. All my grandparents, parents, and siblings are dead, so I have no family of my own to visit. I have best friends who adopted me years ago, but it is not the same. And the worst part, the food is terrible. It is not like we are binge eating fabulous or fun food. It is literally the most boring beige food: rolls, mashed potatoes, and turkey breast. Who cares? Why can't we eat curry, pizza, chilaquiles, or steak? Story 94. I do not care for Thanksgiving or Easter. Maybe I will care more about Easter now that I have my own child. Story 95. I hate Thanksgiving. I always spent it at my grandmother's house. I love her, but her oldest son lived with her and he was mean to me. I have many food allergies, so I could not eat much. Story 96. I do not really like Halloween. I want to love it and I try to get into it by decorating, but it is kind of meh to me. I no longer loathe it, so I guess that is something. Not being a child forced to go trick-or-treating anymore helps. Story 97. New Year's, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, anything patriotic or commemorating colonization or an individual colonizer, and most religious holidays. Story 98. Sorry, but I hate Halloween the most. I just cannot take it when children keep coming to my door looking for candy. Story 99, Thanksgiving. I hate it so much. What is the point of family when everyone is a hypocrite and decides to make you the target, turning it into a how can we bring you down even more type of feast? Story 100, Thanksgiving. It was nice when the whole family lived nearby. I have been on the other side of the country for years, and the airlines charge outrageous fares around the holiday. I am not a turkey fan because my father insisted on the blandest bird every year. Literally the only ingredient other than the turkey was butter, no salt, no pepper, just rubbing a stick of butter over the bird every hour. I still get upset thinking about it, and he has been dead for a while. I did make a decent turkey once, but it took about 12 hours and the kids did not care. It is not worth the hassle unless you have 20 people or more to feed and can make it interesting and serve people who are actually grateful. These days, even when the kids come home, they want to see their high school friends. I would rather go somewhere else for Thanksgiving. The family part is fine, but the meal itself is disappointing. Story 101. Edit. I misunderstood the question. Sorry, folks. I'm Australian but have British relatives. They love all-inclusive holidays, which involve going somewhere sunny, sitting beside a pool, and drinking all day. I joined them once and was bored out of my mind. To me, it felt like spending the day at the local pool. If I wanted to do that, I could do it anytime. I realize they have a different set of circumstances, but for me, it was awful. Story 102. Ugh, Christmas. It is so over the top. Stores promote holiday decorations as early as September, and there is an expectation that more is better, with more decorations, more lavish gifts, and more perfection. It is very hard to meet that expectation. For parents, it is 2 months of stress trying to pull it off, ending with 30 minutes of children tearing open gifts with little gratitude because they assume Santa is responsible. Story 103. The 4th of July, like other summer holidays, does not appeal to me. I enjoy watching fireworks, but the rest of the holiday is unpleasant. Where I live, the heat and humidity are brutal. I am not fond of swimming, so I do not enjoy pool parties, and I dislike my neighbors shooting guns late into the night right next to my house. Story 104. I love the major holidays: Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, and Halloween. My dad hates most holidays except the 4th of July. He always said it was good to celebrate them, especially winter ones, because it gives you something to look forward to. I think that's a good way to see it. My least favorite is Easter. As a child, it was kind of fun, but I have never had a big sweet tooth. For us, Easter was mostly about dressing up in scratchy clothes and going to church. I also do not like the pastel bunnies and duck decorations, and the weather was almost always rainy or unseasonably hot. Story 105. Christmas has been difficult. I lost too many family members just before or after the day. Story 106. I can't stand Christmas and Thanksgiving. My favorite holidays are the 4th of July, New Year's Eve, and Halloween. Story 107. Christmas is hard work and expensive. It seems to start earlier every year. It has become overblown. I have friends who get excited at the mere mention of Christmas, like a 50-year-old Buddy the Elf. I just do not get the hype. Story 108. Christmas was always filled with disappointment and arguments. Advertising sells us a vision of what it is meant to be, but for me the reality was always the opposite. Story 109. Too many to mention, but Christmas easily tops the list. The only good thing about it was that I used to get triple pay for working on Christmas Day and Boxing Day, but now I am retired and even that perk has disappeared. Story 110. At Christmas, I am overwhelmed. I am usually experiencing burnout, and trying to focus on my work is very hard when I also have to deal with noise, lights, people, and so on. Story 111. Thanksgiving is not enjoyable. The turkey is never any good, and I only like a couple of the side dishes. I do not like football or cooking. The day ends up being more trouble than it is worth. Story 112. Christmas, particularly in the malls with the constant music, would be fine for a week, but they start in early November and by early December I'm just so done. Story 113. I have never really liked Christmas. I do not have children, so I only celebrate with my in-laws because they are very enthusiastic about it. Overall, it is just another day to me. Story 114. Christmas. I hate putting up decorations and resent that it is portrayed as a happy holiday when it has such a high suicide rate. Story 115. Thanksgiving is just Christmas without presents, and then we have Christmas 1 month later. That's too much family togetherness for me. I'd rather space it out. Having Thanksgiving in June would be better. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.